And it's possible that we might have another murder mystery on our hands here based on this email that we got, mail@kvjshow.com. It says, I was cleaning out the old family tractor and I found a hidden compartment that had a blood-stained knife and a lock of hair. Terrifying. Recently, there's been a podcast about a girl who went missing 22 years ago, and I discovered my grandpa was connected to her through a softball fundraiser. Witnesses saw them talking about popcorn or her favorite snacks the day that she went missing. Now, my grandpa's always been kind, but the fact that he was one of the last people to see her makes everybody, including me, second guess him. Now, I'm torn between confronting him and protecting my family. What should I do?
Whoa.
Huh.
What a story. I wonder how many people really believe that they know a murderer, but they can't prove it. But they go, I think Grandpa's a murderer.
Yeah, well, that's really interesting, especially if, grandpa, and maybe some people's grandpas, they would be like, yeah, he would kill. But, most grandpas, you'd think it'd be sweet and nice and innocent. But
serial killers love locks of hair.
They
do.
Okay.
That's a big thing. And most of them, I do feel that they collect what they would call trophies. They steal a license, they steal a purse, they have something to remind them of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think you could probably start up a conversation with your grandpa without going through the bloodstained knife and lock of hair. Just be like, hey, I was listening to this crime podcast and blah, blah, blah. You know anything about this, Grandpa? What is it? You talked to her that day? And, maybe you can get, sometimes grandpas like to tell stories.
But imagine if you were somebody that did talk to a victim, the last person that was seen, and you are innocent, but you're the last living person to be around them. That's got to be tough, especially if you're the significant other, because if your wife goes missing, you're going to automatically be looked at.
Yeah, suspect.
No
right
matter
away.
what.
Yeah.
For a month, you're not. No one's going to believe you.
Yeah. Spouses and family members, they usually go right to the top. They look at them. And then, yes, if you were around somebody close to the time when they passed, then you're going to get questioned. They're going to want to know what's going on.
I mean, you are screwed.
Yeah.
If you're the dude and the woman goes missing, and
Right.
even if you have nothing to do with it, for a month, they are going to put you through the ringer.
Now, the question is, let's say you have a conversation with Grandpa. He acts a little bit weird about it, and he's evasive, and things start to line up where he had opportunity. Now, his motive may have just been he's a twisted dude. But would you take your suspicions to the local authorities to flip on Grandpa?
I don't know. If you really thought Grandpa did something.
And how much would it take? Yeah.
But you just got to make sure that. I mean,
Right.
What if there's nothing?
Well, it could become invasive. He could find out that you ratted him out. I don't know how much time Grandpa's got left, but this could be something, an investigation could ruin the last days of his life if he's innocent. Now, if he's guilty, then yeah, by all means, but that's the thing, you just don't know. Without that information, do you turn in your grandpa or at least take what you know to the authorities and say, hey, you might want to run the DNA on this blood-stained knife?
Is there anybody in your family that you would cover up murder for?
That I would cover up murder for?
Meaning they committed it and then they come to you and they said, please help me and keep this a secret. Is there anyone you'd ever do that for?
I think it would have to be different circumstances that, sometimes you'll see that movie where it may have been they're defending themselves or something weird happened. You know how that always happens where they be like, no, get away from me. And they lightly shove somebody and they trip and fall and their head hits a rock and, oh, they're dead. And
yeah, let's say that happened to the Queen.
Here we go.
And she comes to you. She's like, Kev, we got to get rid of this thing.
To me, I would be all about going to the authorities and then let's just explain the situation.
So you rat out the Queen.
It'd be tough for me to cover murder on anybody. It would. I'd have to hear the circumstances, but yeah, that's a tough one. Now, people are giving me a hard time saying, damn, Boy Scout Kevin ain't covering for nobody. Because you're asking, would you cover for somebody if you know they had committed a murder? And I said, yeah, I'm going with just give me the circumstances first. I got to look on this. I mean, if they just cold-hearted off somebody, I'd be like, sorry, man.
I like the example you gave where, the Queen pushes somebody, your wife pushes a woman, she falls over and accidentally, that's the situation.
Right.
And she goes to you and says, babe, we got to get rid of this body. If not, our life is ruined.
Yeah.
Do you help her?
To me, the question is, you got a bloody knife and a lock of hair. And that's, the question is, Grandpa had or at least had the opportunity the day of this missing girl. She's gotten into this whole thing, but it sounds like maybe she has gotten into a crime podcast and has gotten a little bit carried away with it.
But at the minimum, if Grandpa's got the knife and the lock of hair, he's just weird, right?
No, not at all, because she said an old family tractor. And my grandpa was a farmer, and he had an old family tractor. And you would find utensils all over the place that had blood on it, and you would find odd locks of hair.
You would?
Yes, you would.
Are you sure that your family wasn't a serial killer?
Not positive, but he would explain it away, because I'd be like, what's this? And he had cattle, and he had sheep, and he had all that kind of stuff. And yeah, if you're on a farm, you're going to have weird tufts of hair, and you're going to have bloody utensils that are going to be around from time to time.
But you pair it up with bloody knife, lock of hair, which is, look, that's weird. That is, I'm sorry. That is a weird combo.
Unless you're, to me, in fact, what you might do is you might try to find out what that hair is. And if it comes back human hair and it's a lock of it, then that might be one thing. But if it could be goat, or it could be cattle or something else.
You could get it tested. Yeah, you could take that lock, but now you are possibly taking evidence of a crime. Now you are so involved.
It's either that or you're ruining Grandpa's life.
Yeah.
That's kind of the big question here. So I asked, would you turn Grandpa in just for the bloody knife and lock of hair? And 53% said no. 47% think it's enough.
That's pretty much half the audience.
It is, but I'm just asking people, you got to put it through the farm filter, because there are some alarming things. If you, being a city slicker, if I walked you through an old country farm, you would see many things and be like, what is that? And especially with your murder mind, I'd be like, that's life on a farm, baby.
Lock of hair, bloody knife, last person to talk to the victim.
Well, we don't know if he's the last. He just saw her on the day she went missing.
Well, that's good enough for me. I sound like Virginia.
Yeah, you're already convicting Grandpa here. So
I don't know. I feel like you're not making the lock of hair and the knife that was bloody weird enough. You're I don't know.
Well, without the context of the farm, and they found it, inside an old family tractor. And yeah, on the tractor, you've got all kinds of different little, pliers and things like that you're going around, because a lot of times you're taking the tractor out to repair fences, or, and the thing that could happen, honestly, is you had an animal that was caught up on one of your barbed wire fences. That's one thing that a lot of times farmers have to do. You got to cut the animal free to get them loose of the barbed wire and all that stuff. So you're going to have blood, probably have hair, and you're going to have a knife that explains why you're doing that.
You kind of sound like a serial killer covering his tracks right now.
No, I'm a low-key farm boy, so I just know how it goes. There's, like I said, there is a lot of things on a farm that look like there's been murder going on there. That's completely benign in a farmer's world.
And you are right. My murder mind, because I do listen to a lot of that podcast stuff and that crime stuff.
Right.
They just always really do. They always have locks of hair, man.
Yeah. So you got to put it through the farm filter, which to me explains a lot of this story. That's why I'm not sure I'm going to ruin Grandpa's last years by turning him into the authorities yet.
This is how we do. It's the KBJ Show.